Hey, Algebra 1, Mr. Osborne again. This is page 2 of your review. So I'll continue on from on number 8. Okay, so here we have the moon. Okay, the moon, which has a radius of 1,737 kilometers. If you were able to wrap the entire planet with a string, so if I put a string all the way around, how long would that string be? Well, if I put this string all the way around, that forms a circle. Okay? And it says the radius of the moon, which means the center of the moon here to the side, is going to be 1,737 km or kilometers. Okay? So if it's that far, let's move this actually a little bit further and shrink it. It's a little big. There we go. Okay, so there we go, that's much better. All right, so we want to know how far is it all the way around. Well, all we're doing is finding the circumference, and we know the circumference is found by using this equation. So C equals 2 times pi. Remember, pi is just 3.14, and you can use exact pi in the calculator. And then the radius is given here, 1,737. So let's go to our calculator. Okay, so 2 times 3.14 times 1,737 will equal 10,908.36. And remember, we round to the hundredth, 2 places after the decimal. So it looks like our answer is already in rounded. So 10,908.36 kilometers. Okay, now I'll put my comma here, 3 places after the decimal. Okay. Number 9. Tom wants to put one of his rectangular walls, wants to paint one of his rectangular walls red. Okay, so this rectangle here is his wall. How much space will he be painting? When you hear the word space, you know you're going to be looking for area. Okay, let's compare the difference. So if I go back to this problem here, when you see the word perimeter, we're looking for length around. Or same here, perimeter, length around. Okay, or let's go back to this one too. So here, length, that means perimeter. But if you hear the word or see the word space, as in this problem, you know you're going to look for the area. Okay, now remember, area for a rectangle is the base times the height. Okay, so the base is here and the height is here. So all we do is multiply the two numbers. So 8 times the square root of 129 is our area. Okay, so if I go over my calculator, I can do all this at once. 8 times, I push times, square root, second, then find the square root, 129. Okay, enter. So now remember, we're going to round to the nearest hundredth, so 90.86. Look to the right, that 2 will not change the 6, so 90.86. And I'm going to put my final answer here, 90.86. And remember to use the correct units. When we talk about area, it's 90.686 feet squared. Okay, remember, we always put the squared if it's area. If it's perimeter length, you don't put an exponent there. Okay, and that's your answer. Okay, now number 10. Okay, number 10, Billy found the area. So remember, area, we're going to be looking for how much space is inside. We're using a special equation. So we're not looking for the length around, we're looking how much space is inside. Found the area of this right triangle to be 10 square feet. So Billy did some calculations, and he said that the square feet, or the area here, is 10. Is he correct? Explain your answer. So we basically just need to find, is he right? All right, well, if he is looking for square feet, that means we need to find our answer in feet. Okay, John, just like perimeter, in order to find the area, both measures need to be the same, in the same type of measure. So here we have feet, here we have yards. But we want to know what it is in feet. So that means I need to change the 2 yards to feet. Okay, so we're going to go from yards to feet, which is a big to small calculation. So we're going to need to know how many feet is in 1 yard. Well, that's 3 feet. Okay, and that's right here. It's given. It tells us 1 yard equals 3 feet. So I multiply 3. That gives me 6. And now I know this side is 6 feet. Okay, not 2 yards. Now the area of a triangle, and you'll see it's on the test, it's right there, the formula, is 1/2 times the base, and remember the base is down here, the bottom of the triangle, so it's 10, times the height, that's the h. So then the height is the 6, how tall the triangle is. Okay? So I can punch this in a calculator, and in a calculator 1/2 is the same thing as 0.5. Okay? Or I could just do this because I know this in my head. Okay, I'll do one thing at a time. 10 times 6, that's 60. And then 0.5 times 60, or 1/2 of 60, is 30. Okay, so remember we measured this in feet. So feet squared, because we were looking for area, so we put squared. So Billy said it was 10. So that means that Billy is incorrect. Billy is incorrect because when using the area equation, the area is 30 feet squared. Okay, and I think I know what he did. What he did is he did 2. He didn't convert. He didn't change this side to feet. He kept it as yards. And so what he did was 1/2 times the base 10 times 2, and that's how he got 10. Okay, so he forgot to change this side. Now going up to number 11. Betsy wants to cover the top of her circular table with a tablecloth. So remember, this is a table. It's just in the shape of a circle. Okay, so this is the top of the table. She wants to cover it with tablecloth. So that means she wants to cover all of this space with a tablecloth. Okay, how much cloth will she need? Well, she wants to cover the space. Again, the key word is space. So we're looking for the area. And if you look, we provide you with the equation, so you know what you're doing. You're looking for the area, okay? So we need to figure out how much space will this tablecloth need to cover, okay? So area is equal to pi r squared, okay? So the only thing we need is to find the radius. So A equals pi, which is 3.14, times the radius squared. Okay, so the radius here is the square root of 5 right there. So that's all we do is take that and plug it in. Okay, now you got to be careful in how you actually plug this into your calculator. Okay, so let me show you how to do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is 3.14 times, and now I'm going to do the square root of 5. But remember, it was the square root of 5 squared. Okay, this whole thing squared. So what I'm going to do on the calculator is put parentheses here to close it, and then I'm going to hit this button here that says x squared, so I can get the little 2, the x squared there. Okay? So now I hit enter, and I get 15.7. Okay? And just to show you what the square root of 5 squared is, if I do that squared, it's just the 5. And a little trick here is anytime you square a square root, pretty much the square root just drops off and you're left with the number inside. So that's if you take a square root of a number and you raise it to the second power, it will give you 5. Okay? But our answer, again, was 15.7. Okay, so the area is 15.7 meters, and remember we looked for area, so it's meters squared. Okay? Okay, now, a swimming pool is 40 meters long and 20 meters wide and 40 meters deep. How much water will fit in the swimming pool? So we want to know how much water will fit inside this pool. Okay, well now we're working in 3 dimensions. We're talking about water, liquid, in this space. How much will it fill? Okay, so if we're looking in 3 dimensions, we're talking about volume. And you can see here we give you the volume equation. Okay, so again, volume is length times width times height for a rectangular prism or like a box shaped. Okay, so what I do is the length times the width times the height. The length here could be 40. The width is 20. And the height is 4. Okay, so I'll do length 40 times width 20 times the height, which is 4. What I'll do is I'll just do it in my calculator real quick. 40 times 20 times 4, 3,280. I'm sorry, 3,200. So the volume is 3,200. Now remember, this is measured in meters. So meters, and when we talk about volume, we put cubed or to the 3rd power. So 3,200 meters cubed. Okay, volume is cubed. Area, like in the last one, is squared. And then when we go back to perimeter, we don't put anything at all. Okay? Now, next one. How much air would it take to fill up this volleyball if the diameter, remember keyword diameter, is 20.7? Okay, so air, we're going to fill up this ball. Now remember the ball is like the shape of a sphere. Okay, so we want to know how much air would it take to fill up this entire ball. So how much space is inside is what we're looking for. Now we're given the diameter. Okay, that's the distance all the way across. But if we look at the formula for volume of a sphere, which is this one here, you'll notice that the only number we need is this r, which stands for radius. And so if you haven't caught the what's similar between all these different equations, anything that's circular in any way involves radius, okay, or r. So the only number we need to find is the radius, and once we plug that in, then we can find the rest. So we need to find the radius here, but we're given the diameter. And remember, radius is just half of the diameter. So if I do 20.7 divided by 2, that will give me half. Okay, and 20.7 divided by 2 is 10.35 centimeters. Okay, so now I take my equation, and that's our radius. Okay, I basically just took half of the diameter. Now 4 over 3 times pi, which is 3.14, times the radius cubed. Notice there's a 3 there. Cubed. So whatever the radius is, you're going to cube it. Okay, and so that's 10.35. And cubed means you're going to multiply that same number, 10.35, 3 times. Okay, so 10.35 cubed means you're going to multiply it 3 times. If it was squared, like when we find area, that means we multiply it 2 times. Okay? So don't forget to put that cubed there. It's really important. It's a common mistake. Okay? So now let's go back to our calculator, and I'll show you how to put 4 over 3. Okay? So on the calculator, what I want to do is I'm going to put a parenthesis, 4 divide 3. That's the same thing as putting 4 over 3. Okay? And then here, I'll do multiply, just like it's written on my paper. I'll use parentheses. Okay? And then parentheses again. And then remember, it's 10.35 parentheses. But then the last thing is, don't forget we have it cubed. Okay, so to do cubed, anything bigger than x or bigger than squared, we go to this caret, this little arrow. And we push that arrow and then put the exponent. So what this means is you're raising this number to this power, 3. Press enter, and there's our answer. Now remember, we're rounding to the nearest hundredth, so the hundredth is the 3. Okay, so the 2 doesn't change the 3, so it's 4,641.83. 4,641.83 centimeters. And remember, this is volume, so it's cubed. Okay, so 4,600, oops, I forgot the 1, 641.83 centimeters cubed. Okay? Okay, that was page 2. Go to the next video for page 3.